Today, we are going to cover both sides of the fence concerning authors, entrepreneurs, and professionals, and how ChatGPT and other AI chatbots like it are now the talk of the town in reference to replacing people. Hi, I'm Christina M. Johnson of Testimony Publishers LLC, Self-Publishers Hub, and Entrepreneurs Who Rise. Come on in, come on in. We have a big discussion today. This interesting topic, AI, chatbots, ChatGPT, authors, entrepreneurs who write. These are some pretty big topics for a lot of people right now. So come on in. If you can, please share this with as many people as you can. Share it out for me so that I can answer anyone's questions live. Today, we are going to cover both sides of the fence concerning authors, entrepreneurs, and professionals, and how ChatGPT and other AI chatbots like it are now the talk of the town in reference to replacing people. All right, so stick around, stay to the end, because I have a few surprises for you, and I think you're going to enjoy those. All right, so I'm Christina M. Johnson. Testimony Publishers LLC is my family's indie publishing company. We specialize in helping people of faith, men, women, and children who are believers in God to write their personal testimonies, to share their expertise and or experiences in a book. That can be an ebook, a print book. We have done for you and done with you services. And all of those services are so that you can not only build a lasting legacy using your words, but also to expand God's kingdom through whatever it is that you're talking about, whether you want to write a transformational book, a nonfiction book that shares information about, your testimony, your story, what you've gone through, things you've learned in your life, or if you want to share information about your expertise, maybe a special skill set that you have, maybe you want to talk about your coaching programs and some of the things that you offer. So we help people to do all of those things through writing. We work with clients in one-on-one, a group setting, and we also have live events. As a matter of fact, we have a live event coming up called Profit, Pen, and Publish. It's a 3-day challenge. You will end the 3-day challenge with content that you've written, information about who it is that you are attracting, who you want to attract as far as your readers, your ideal clients. You'll also get gain clarity on what you want to write about and how you want to proceed with your writing. We're also going to talk about monetization, but let's dive into this conversation about AI, because this AI revolution is really, it's scaring a lot of people. And you have so many people up in arms about, oh, well, you don't even need to write an ebook anymore. You don't even need to, write your own content. Just let AI do it. The perspective that I'm going to share with you today is a perspective from a business standpoint, a person that's looking at both sides, what's good, some of the pros, what may be a challenge, some of the cons. I'm also going to share insight as far as a woman of God. I believe in Yahweh as my creator. I will add in some of that perspective and some of my concerns. I will also speak from the standpoint of being a busy entrepreneur, business owner, and author. Okay, so you are going to get I believe you're going to get a really well-rounded idea about the usefulness of AI chatbots, and then some of the challenges I think that we need to think about, and some of the questions that we need to be asking ourselves as far as our usage of AI chatbots like ChatGPT. Awesome. Alrighty, so let's get started. ChatGPT. ChatGPT. What is it all about? What is it? And should I be afraid or should I be just overjoyed? All right, first, let me just define what ChatGPT is. So just the general definition of what ChatGPT is, it is an artificial intelligence large language model system that can mimic human language and reasoning. So just simply put, it's an AI chatbot. So what it can do, it can take the language and the information that it's been fed, and I'll talk to you about how it's been fed and or trained. It can take that information and it can mimic or act as someone who has that information. And then acting as someone who has the information that has been fed, it can produce compositions. And those compositions can be in the form of just general sentences, paragraphs, blog articles, papers, reports. So it can produce all types of written content for you. In reference to some of the other things that I kind of found in my research and my own experiences are the chatbot, specifically ChatGPT. The way that it was trained using content from all of the years of content up to 2021. And that content consists of, classical books, literature, all of the information that it had access to on the internet up to 2021. So that's what ChatGPT was actually trained on. Okay, that's how it began to learn. And that was the data that it was fed. So in reference to like real-time data, we're going to talk about whether or not it can give you real-time data. But I just want you to know what it was actually trained on. So all the way up to 2021, that's the content that it was fed. And that's what it kind of learned. Also, ChatGPT, the owners, OpenAI, it's an AI company out of San Francisco. OpenAI is backed by huge conglomerates. So Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, some of the Elon Musk is also one of the backers for it. So there are a lot of big names, big companies that are backing ChatGPT. That's one of the reasons why it's getting so much widespread coverage. Another thing about ChatGPT is it's not just a paid model. So the paid model is about $20 right now, but there is a free service as well. You can use ChatGPT for free. It may not have all of the perks that comes with the paid program, but you will still be able to get a whole lot out of the free version if that's what you choose to utilize. ChatGPT responds to natural language questions and prompts. Okay, so basically what that means is the AI can hear what you say, can take what you type, and whether you type a question or some type of prompt, it can take that information and it will produce whatever it is that you ask it. So if you're asking it questions, if you are giving it prompts, if you are maybe doing act as type directives, it can respond based on the information that you give it. One of the things that a lot of people are having difficulty with when they find that, they don't really like ChatGPT or other AI bots, they don't necessarily know how to ask the questions. Like, how do you know what question to ask specifically? How do you know how in-depth your question needs to be? What's the specifics of the things that you need to ask it? And do you need, keywords in there? That's where some of the issue is coming into play. Not really knowing how to use it is one of the main issues that people are having with ChatGPT and other chatbots like it. So one of the things that we've done at Testimony Publishers, LLC, is instead of kind of jumping on the bandwagon at the very, very beginning, I really wanted to kind of step back and see where it was going, who's enjoying the AI chatbot, who's not really enjoying it. And what I found is a lot of people are using it and they're just using what it gives them. Okay. And when I say using what it gives them, when they feed the ChatGPT questions, prompts, what is being produced, that's what you're getting. And I'm going to get into why, the importance of why I said that in just a minute. But just remember that. So when we did our research to try and see, what is going to help our clients, what's going to help, the market, what's going to add value to people who do want to use chatbots, but they don't necessarily want chatbots to speak for them 100% of the time. So some of the prompts that have worked for us, we've kind of compiled and we put together a list of prompts that you can use for ChatGPT, other AI chatbots like the Google Help Me Write feature, and they are specific for authors. Okay, there aren't many people doing the prompts and things like that specifically for authors, but we've compiled some prompts that will help authors to be able to utilize the chatbot and create content that's ethical, that's relevant, and you will be able to still keep your intellectual property ownership of it. We have nonfiction prompts, fiction prompts, and prompts for authors who have written children's books. So all of those areas we kind of have covered for you with those prompts. Let's talk a little bit about some of the awesome things about ChatGPT. One of the things that I absolutely love about it is that it's a great content creator. So it can definitely create all of the content that you want. I was just working with some of my clients just last night, and we just went right into one of the chatbots and I fed it a prompt, told it exactly what I wanted, and it produced a composition for me. And it was actually an email that I wanted it to write to a cold audience about an upcoming live event of mine. And it was able to produce an email to a cold audience with exactly what I was requesting it. I asked it to add in keywords to make sure that it mentioned things like write a book and things of that nature. And it gave me exactly what I asked it, but that was because what I asked it was specific. I knew the questions to ask. And that's one of the hiccups that people run into. They don't know the questions to ask. And that's one of the reasons why we came up with the prompts, to make it super easy for people to be able to utilize this chatbot. So some of the content, and this is just some of the content that it can create. It can create emails, social media posts, blog articles, and I've created all of these things with it. So I know for a fact that it can do it, and it can do it well. When you know how to ask the questions, when you know the prompts to feed it, it can definitely give you back what you are putting in. All right. So another thing about ChatGPT and some of the chatbots that make them awesome is it can be used as an excellent researcher. There is a disclaimer for ChatGPT in the very beginning. It says that it can't guarantee that all of the information is going to be accurate. Why? Because it's getting information from the internet. Now, who can put information on the internet? Almost anyone. So when you have so many different people giving information and your chatbot is getting information from them through the internet, different books and things like that, the information may not be accurate. So you still have to do your due diligence. As a human being, you are supposed to be in dominion over the actual artificial intelligence. You are supposed to be the fact checker. You're supposed to do the research, do your due diligence, and make sure that what you are putting out, it is accurate. Another great thing about ChatGPT is that it is a great writing assistant. So it definitely can assist you with your writing. If you are stuck If you don't feel like writing something, it can write it for you. Say, for example, I want to produce 5 blog articles, and I want them to be specific to a particular genre of writing, or I want it to be on want them to be on a particular topic. I can feed it that information, give it some specifics, and then it will produce those emails for me. So no matter what it is, it can actually assist you with your writing. If you don't know, if this paragraph sounds right, you can feed it your paragraph, and then you can tell it to rephrase it. You can tell it to shorten it. You can tell it to elaborate so that it can lengthen it. So there are a lot of different things that you can do. So you have to take technology with a grain of salt at times, because there are going to be a lot of things that we may not understand about technology. Just like the computer and the internet, it wasn't received well by everyone in the beginning, but people slowly but surely were able to begin to find ways to utilize it and find ways that they could make it applicable to their lives. So I think the same thing about ChatGPT and the others like it. So some of the limitations, let's dive into some of the limitations that I have found as far as me using it, my clients using it, and some of the research that I did online about what people are talking about, they don't like about it. So writesonic.com, WRITESONIC.com, produced an article. And this next thing that I'm going to mention is specifically from that article that I read on ChatGPT. It cannot generate real-time data. Okay, so that's one of the limitations of ChatGPT. It cannot generate real-time data. Now that goes back to what I mentioned to you a few minutes ago. Because it was trained on most of the content being from the years up to 2021, that's where it's getting the bulk of its content from. Now, because it's been used over the last few months and things like that by so many different people, it's taking the new content and it's now using it. It's adding the new content that it's getting from us because we're feeding it. And that content is now being incorporated into what it already knows, what it's already been trained to use. Because ChatGPT is actually learning as it gets more and more practice, it is now using the content that we're feeding it in addition to the content that it has, been trained on. Technically, it can't produce real-time data. It's going to get better and better over time. So that is something that's great about it, because over time, you will have the opportunity to use ChatGPT, and then the data will be, more consistent or more closer to present day time. Well, all of the next ones that I'm going to mention is based off of my specific experience using ChatGPT or my clients, something that maybe they have brought to my attention and I went in to try and see if it does it. And it's based off of my research. So I know these specifically. Compiled data does not include your authenticity, personal stories, expertise, and experience. My personal experience with ChatGPT, out of all of the things that it's already done for me, and I have used some social media posts, I've used some emails, I've had it create some short form content for me to use. So out of all of the things that I have used it for, at no time has it been able to incorporate my personal story. And that is significant because of who we are. And when I say who we are, I'm talking mostly about the people that I serve, my clients, whether you're in my Facebook group, if you're in Self Publishers Hub, or, if I'm working one-on-one with you, a small group with you in one of our programs. Because God has called us to a higher standard, and because God has called us from a place of lowliness to now a place of elevation in the kingdom, We are being called to share our stories. With that being said, because our stories are personal testimonies, no one and nothing else, no other creation of man can tell your story but you. I mean, I know a lot of people do, write biographies and things like that. They tell other people's story. I'm speaking from the point of view that only the person that has lived it can share exactly what they were going through, exactly what they were thinking. Other people may be able to write your story, but it will never be from the perspective that you have. So hopefully I'm making sense to you, because that point in itself proves that you will forever be needed, and ChatGPT cannot take your place. ChatGPT does not know your expertise and what you bring to the table. ChatGPT doesn't know your experiences, what you've gone through, your download from on high that God wants you to express in word form. It does not know, it being ChatGPT or any of the other ones. So you have no need to fear based on that fact. Sorry, it's not just a fact. Based on that truth alone. Another thing that I found with ChatGPT and the responses that it's given me is the emotionality is lacking. Okay. Imagination as it relates to creatively expressing your particular point of view. It has shown me a little bit on how it can be quirky. It can give like humorous responses and things along those lines, as long as you feed it that particular information. But at the same time, it's still an emotional tone that's missing when I'm reading over what ChatGPT has produced for me. And then lastly, I'll give this fourth one, and then I'll be done with the limitations. Personal storytelling. So out of everything that ChatGPT has done for me, produced as far as compositions, it has never been able to share personal stories that I've encountered, endured, situations and circumstances that I've gone through in my life. So why am I bringing up the storytelling, the imagination, and then the lack of the emotionality? I'm bringing it up because it is absolutely important, because that's how we connect with people. Oral tradition has been big in our community. Passing down the stories. It's actually a biblical mandate to, tell your sons and daughters, the stories of how God brought you through this, that, and so if ChatGPT is unable to do that, you are still relevant, you are still needed, and what you have, your story, is something that cannot be replaced. It can't be duplicated. The eye contact that you give when you're speaking on stage or you're live on, a virtual event or what have you, or the heartfelt energy and the spirit behind your writing when you're writing a blog article or in your book, that can be felt. Okay, it can be experienced just because of the way that you share it and all that you've gone through. The energy can be transferred through your book. Okay, so I want you to keep those things in mind. Some of the alternatives to ChatGPT, some people are saying, well, it can't be the only AI chatbot that we have access to, and it isn't. Google Labs has a help me write feature in the Google Docs app. So some people have access to it. I'm still finding out that many people don't. So I was one of the first people, I guess, to be able to use it. I was contacted by Google Labs and asked if I wanted to try it out. And the feature is a help me write feature As soon as you open up your Google Docs, you open up a blank page and then or blank document, and then it automatically appears. So if you have it, you'll know that you have it. It's a little button that will show up that says "Help me write." If you have that, then you know that that is one of the competitors to ChatGPT. Also, ChatSonic has one by Write Sonic. And then there's Google Bard. There are a lot of other ones. Those are just a few of the ones that I noticed that were being utilized a lot. And then I had to mention the Help Me Write feature because, you know, that's something that's new, even though it's still in beta form. Now, let's get into some of my concerns about ChatGPT. And you're like, okay, well, yeah, you're concerned about it. Who are you? I'm Christina. Okay, I'm Christina M. Johnson. And as an indie publisher, just an independent publisher, as an indie publisher, a lot of times people look to indie publishers as the boots on the ground, so to speak. The people that are on the front line in the publishing industry that are not going to act as a gatekeeper, but as a mediator for the people that want to write, that want to get their stories out, that want to produce content in published forms like an ebook, print book, audiobook. So as an indie publisher, I know that it is, I've been charged with the task of making sure that my clients know how to use some of these things for their benefit. Like I said, we need to be in dominion over technology. We need to be in dominion. That's one of the things that we've been called to do: be fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue, and be in dominion. Though that's what we've been called to. So we can't run from things like ChatGPT. We can't run from technology. We have to face it head on. Fear not. Do not be afraid. Okay, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go, whatever you're doing. You know, we need to know that we have the authority and we need to act in it. So my concerns, and I'm prefacing my concerns with that, just so that you know that we already have the victory. We are in authority. We have the authority to act, and we don't need to be afraid. So in addressing my concerns, I want you to know that it's coming from a woman of faith. My concerns are coming from an indie publisher. My concerns are coming from a Black woman living in America. So this is my perspective. It may not be everyone's perspective. So I'm just prefacing it with that so you will know where I'm coming from. All right. So I'm an author myself. My first concern is this, and I'm going to read something. Approximately 95% of all bestsellers were written, best-selling books, were written by whites, okay, white men and white women. And this is according to NewYorkTimes.com. Now that data for the NewYorkTimes.com article, it was published 2020, okay, so the year 2020. After 2020, that data has changed, but for the most part, it is still above 85%. So this is where my concern comes into play. Out of most of the data the AI chatbots have been trained on, does the content reflect a true narrative of my people being believers, so people of faith, business owners, entrepreneurs, and so-called Black Americans, right? And Black Americans, I'm saying, not just general minorities, although minorities can be fit into people of color. I'm talking about the so-called descendants of slaves who are now here in America, right? So if ChatGPT was trained on that, like all of that content from the internet, what does it think about me? What does ChatGPT think about me as a woman, What does it think about me as a believer in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior? What does it think about me as a Black woman in America? And when it produces that content, when it produces content that's relative, you know, someone asking it questions or giving it feeding it prompts, will that composition, the writing that's been produced, will it be a true narrative? Those are the questions that go through my mind when I think about AI. When I think about artificial intelligence and, you know, a computerized anything doing anything for me, I think about those things. What does it think about my Black sons? Because I got a lot of them. If you don't already know, my husband Anthony and I, we have 8 together children. And I had one before I was married. So I've given birth to 9 people. All right. So we have a lot going on. We have a lot to be concerned about, not a lot to worry about because we have the Lord, but we have a lot to be concerned about when it comes to technology. And I don't even want to get into like what they're watching on YouTube and all of that. But those are some of my concerns. And I'm not going to give you answers to, you know, whether or not you should use it, you don't use it. I'm not going to do that. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to give you the information that God has given me, share my experiences, share my story, and you make an educated decision about what you want to do. Okay. All right. So that's my concern. What does ChatGPT think about me? Right. Something else I wanted to say in reference to that as well was I jotted this down before I came on. Your voice needs to be heard. So I jotted that down. The reason I wrote that is because of this. There are a lot of people saying that you don't even need to write a book anymore. Just, you know, get ChatGPT to do it. How are you charged or how are you given a mandate from the Lord on high to share your testimony and comfort those with the comfort that you've been comforted with? Okay, that's a scripture. I'm not sure where it is, but it is a scripture. You can look it up. How are you going to do that when you are given that task over to a chatbot? Now, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm not making that statement to say, you know, okay, just forget about ChatGPT. I just want you to think about the importance of you and how necessary your story is. Okay. There are people out there who will only come off the ledge and not jump if you write your book and they read the page, one paragraph, or they read one sentence from you. There are people that only you can speak to that will be able to hear God's voice through you. There are people that you can speak to that I can't speak to. God can use ChatGPT to do whatever he wants. However, you've been called. You've been called. You are the chosen. You are the few. So you cannot give over your ministry, your mandate to someone else. You must keep that mantle, okay? And not just hand it over to AI. If you decide to use chatbots, you need to use them with discretion. You need to be disciplined, and you need to make sure that you don't give away your intellectual property. I'm going to tell you about that in just a second. Another one of my concerns, this was, I'm looking for the people that I got this from. I don't have the specific article, but I do know there was a viral hashtag that was on Twitter, and it was called Publishing Paid Me. And this is where I got it from. So if you go to Twitter and you type in the hashtag Publishing Paid Me, you'll be able to find it. So it says, out of 122 writers who say they earned at least $100,000 for a book deal. 78 of those 122 writers were white. 8 were Black, as in Black American. And then 2 were Latin American. All right. So I just want you to think about that. So out of 122 people, they decided that they didn't want to do the self-publishing route. They wanted to go through just the traditional publishing, and they were given $100,000, at least $100,000 for a book deal. Okay, 122 people. 78 were white, 8 were Black, and 2 Latin American. My concern is if humans do not learn to properly use AI, specifically, we're talking about ChatGPT, what narrative will be used to further communicate through these language tools? Okay, so what I'm saying here is if the content that has been fed to the chatbots has been written by people that don't necessarily look like me, genders that aren't necessarily mine, the narrative is still not going to be true to me or for me. So I'm bringing that up because I want you to understand your relevance. You are more than relevant when it comes to the content that you have to produce. And I'm saying that you have to produce it because you know you've been called to write a book. You know you've been called to sell this book, but something is holding you back. Something's holding you back from writing it. You don't think you have time to write it. You don't think that, the content is good enough. You don't think you're good enough. Imposter syndrome, whatever is going on in your mind, in your spirit, in your heart, you've been called to write. If you have a book already and you don't know how to get the book out and you want to, it to go all across the world, there are things that you can be doing right now that don't cost anything in order for you to be able to get the word out. Like there are a few people watching right now. After this live is over, it is going to be recorded and it's going to be posted online. Easy peasy. Now, one would say that you still got to pay for it because, you're paying for it with your content. You're paying with it with your demographics because Meta, Facebook is going to use that. Yeah, okay. We know that. But for the most part, I didn't have to come out of pocket to get on live today. You can do the same thing with your book. You can get your message out using the same tactics. It's so many different free ways, free resources that are available to you right now to get your book out there if you already have a book written. There is really no excuse right now for you not to be selling your book. All right. So I'm bringing that up because all of this content is out there. Are we sharing the messages and the narratives that God has us to share? Are we being good stewards of our experiences and our stories when God has called us to go forth and make disciples? We're worrying about ChatGPT. If we were focusing on what we're supposed to be doing, then we would know for a fact ChatGPT can't replace me. That's going to be my slogan, y'all. ChatGPT can't replace me. Type that in the comments if you are in agreement. ChatGPT can't replace me. If we were focused so much more on the calling that we have to write our book, get it out there, we would know for a fact that ChatGPT cannot replace us. All right, so let me keep going. And I'm rounding it out right now. Another concern that I have is if ChatGPT and other AI chatbots are combing the web using the knowledge base created or written by humans, will will we as humans be given credit for contributing to ChatGPT's or other chatbots compositions? So what I mean by that is all of the data that ChatGPT is getting, it came from us. So how can it replace us if we're the ones that's feeding it? And because we are who we are ever evolving, ever growing. We are continuously creating, and our imagination is continuously expanding. So if that is the case, because that is the case, then ChatGPT is always going to be learning from us. My husband always says, I'm so unpredictable. Like you don't know what I'm going to be feeling. Yeah, last week I wanted tacos, but this week, I want something else. So if we are changing and growing and learning more and ever expanding, there's no way that ChatGPT will always have all of our answers. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. When ChatGPT is combing the web and is producing that content, is it saying that it used my blog article to get that content? And should it give me credit when it's getting my content and regurgitating it and giving it to someone else, even though it's rephrasing it and things like that, but it's still using that information from humans. Humans have to do it all the time. Even if we don't specifically quote someone, we still have to give some type of credit if we're using, the bulk of a paragraph or an article or some other person's content. We have to do it as humans. So should ChatGPT and other AI chatbots get a pass? Should they not have to give credit if they're using your content? So that's just something to think about. There is something now, and I wrote this down before I came on as well. There's something called Turnitin, GPT-0, Grade Scope, Copy Leaks, and Originality AI. Those are chatbot detectors, and instructors, college professors, teachers are now using those things to detect whether or not a report has been written by a chatbot or if it's really been written by Jimmy, So everyone is not on board with ChatGPT taking over. Everyone is not on board with ChatGPT replacing humans. People still want the human element to their writing. All right. Another concern, and this will be my last concern so I can kind of close out. Copyrights, trademarks, and patents. This is very important. So if you did not hear anything else today from what I said, I want you to hear this. Say, hear this. Type that in the comments because I want you to hear this. I want it to really, really sink in. Only humans can get copyrights, trademarks, patents, and trade secrets. You can only be a human. Right now, the Copyright Office, the USPTO, United States Trademark and Patent Office, they are rejecting any works by AI, whether it's art, music, because you have chatbots that are creating beautiful pieces of art, amazing, musical compositions, books, and things like that. But Copyright Office, USPTO office, they are rejecting those. And people have submitted things that were created by chatbots, and those offices gave them copyrights, approved their trademarks, but now they are pulling those. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. If you just produce, if you ask or request ChatGPT to produce something for you, and then you send it as is to the Copyright Office, Trademark Office, Patent Office for them to approve it, it will be denied. If it is approved and later on is found out that it was produced by a chatbot, it will be revoked. Okay. So how can you how can you combat that? I'm going to talk about that more. I have a live event coming up. I'm going to go in depth and show you actually how to use the app, the chatbot. But just very quickly right now, one way that you can, combat that is when ChatGPT produces something for you. If you want to copyright it, you're going to go in and then you're going to make it your own. Include some of your vernacular. Include how you would address something. Include a story. Include something that will make it your own. Okay, so don't just go with what's been produced. Make sure you make it your own. All right, and then also, excuse me, if AI creates something for you, you won't be able to own the copyright to that. So you have to go in, make it your own, tweak things, rewrite some things, just give it your feel. And then that way you'll be more than likely able to copyright it, trademark it, or what have you. Well, I'm going to speak more so on the copyright part. I'm not too sure about the trademarking because there are certain things that they do to review that. But definitely you'll more than likely be able to copyright it. All right. So so keep that in mind when you are thinking about using ChatGPT. It is a great assistant to you as far as writing is concerned. It is something that I would definitely recommend to assist with even remedial training. I have one of my daughters. She just does not like reading, and it's not her strongest subject. She loves math. So ChatGPT has assisted her in being able to make her writing better. So I believe you would be able to use it. As you have to have dominion over it, though. You have to know how to use it, and then you have to use it to your advantage, but do it in a way that's ethical. Okay. Like I said before, the prompts, I'm going to make sure I put them in the guide section for you all. Those of you that are interested in the prompts for nonfiction, we have fiction, we have for, children's books, authors, prompts for you all so that you'll be able to utilize it and just kind of get to know it a little bit. So you can definitely learn how to ask it questions, learn how to talk to it. And because you already are starting with some of the prompts that we've created, you'll get better and better faster. So your learning curve won't be as great. I do have the 3-day challenge coming up, the Profit, Pen, and Publish 3-day challenge. If you are interested in monetizing your book, whether you have a book now or whether you are in the process of writing a book, or if you are thinking about writing a book, you are going to need to know how to monetize your book. If you want to know how you can make your book better, as far as maybe your manuscript, writing, and things along those lines, we're going to cover that. We are going to cover how you can use AI chatbots like ChatGPT to actually help you write your book. And I'm also going to show you how you don't need ChatGPT in order to write the book, because that's one thing that we specialize in. One of the writing frameworks that I have, I've been able to use it with people who have dyslexia, severe dyslexia, people who have chronic illnesses, people who weren't able to read. I've used it to help people write books using WhatsApp. It's so many things that you can do with your writing when you have the right framework, when you have the right blueprint. You won't even need some of the AI chatbots that are out if you have the right framework. And we're going to go over that during the 3-day challenge. And then rounding out the 3-day challenge, the last day, we're going to talk about publishing and some of the secrets to leveraging your story and how you can sometimes even profit before you even finish writing your story. So we're going to talk all about that. You're going to leave the 3-day challenge knowing how to monetize, how to start, making money with your book. You're going to leave with how to make your book better. If you have a book already, it's going to be very helpful for you, because we're going to be talking about the monetization piece. Everyone who has a book needs to be selling it. Okay. You need to be bringing income from your book. So you don't have to be a good writer. You don't have to be a great writer to write a great book. And you don't need ChatGPT to write a great book. But if you're going to use it, you need to know how to use it to write a great book. So if you have any questions, let me know. Any questions? Let me open the floor real quick to see. Any questions about ChatGPT? Anything you want to know about it, so that I can cover it? It's part of what I do to stay on top of the things that affect you as writers and entrepreneurs. Oh, thank you so much, Reverend Earlene. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad to see you here. I'm so glad to see you here. We're going to see each other Monday too. I already have you. I put you on my calendar. We are going to see each other on Monday. Any questions about ChatGPT? Any questions at all? Okay, so let me give you the link for the 3-day challenge. It's going to be so much fun. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun, whether you have a book or not. So go to tinyurl.com. Maybe I should put it in the chat somewhere. Let's see if I can do this real quick. Let's see if I can do this. All right, y'all, I'm going to try to put this in there. Okay, so Profit, Pen, and Publish. This is a 3-day challenge, okay? This is going to be so much fun, and you're going to learn a lot. You're going to leave knowing how to monetize. Okay, so ChatGPT 3-day challenge, right? And you're going to go to https:// tinyurl.com/profit-pen-pub. Let me see if I got that right. Okay, so let's see if this goes through. Did it go through, y'all? I'm not sure. It's a delay. Okay, I'm not sure. Tell me did that come through? Did anyone see that? Oh, cool. I see it. I see it. It's there. So https:// tinyurl.com/profit-pen-pub. Yep, it's there. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I'm going to get out of here. It's a few minutes to 5 p.m. If you think of something later on and a question comes up, just leave it here in the comments and I'll circle back. Check out Profit Pen Pub. We are going to have a great time. We are definitely going to have a great time. And I am going to put the prompts for you all in the guide section. So I'll make sure I come back to this post and I'll leave the link to the post in the guide section for you so that you all can have those prompts. Okay. It has been a pleasure. I thank God for this time with you all. Anything that you do to the best of your ability. Do to the best of your ability. And then you will not have to worry about ChatGPT. You won't have to worry about the Help Me Write feature. You will be able to use those to your advantage so that you will be able to do what God is calling you to do. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you all. I love you, love you, love you so much. I am going to be working on getting in here more. We were just building out another community specifically for writers. And then we were also working on our logistics and transportation stuff. And then we had homeschool. We had to end the year. We had a review and we have 8 children in school now. So I had 8 different portfolios to complete. So it was a lot going on in June. So I believe I am back, especially with the start of this 3-day challenge that we're kicking off with the Profit Pen and Publish 3-day challenge. So thank you all again, and I'm out.